name is JG, and they call me Venerable JG, and that is my Dharma name given by my master when I was tonsured under him in year 1990. And I'm a Chinese Buddhist nun, so you can see my robe. This is a very typical traditional Chinese Buddhist monastic we put on, and then we lead a celibate life, meaning that we don't get married, we don't have our children, and so the congregation, we will treat them as our family. So it's a big family, and as a Taiwanese, I was born in Taiwan, and so after being trained as a novice in the headquarters, Fo-Guang-San Buddhist Monastery in Taiwan, I was assigned to Hong Kong for 9 years, and then after that, I was further assigned to the States, and so I spent 6 years in California, and then another 6 years, almost 6 years here in Austin, Texas. Mainly the Buddha's teaching, which is recorded in the Buddhist text. It tells us about impermanence in life, the law of cause and effect. And I think that has a very strong impact on me when I started learning Buddhism, because I asked a lot of times to myself, why this and why that, and then I cannot find answer from people surround me. Even my parents couldn't answer that. So I start my spiritual journey, and I have been study the Christian Bibles, and my university, when I study in Taiwan, it's a Catholic university, and I grow up in a folk religion environment, and finally the Buddhist teaching attract me most because I got a chance to explore the cause of the result that I experience in life. For me, after becoming a Buddhist, my life has changed a lot. It like opened a new window to me to see life, and even the way that I see my family, the way I see my friends. And because of the teaching that I just told you about the law of cause and effect, and that every human beings, in fact, all beings are interrelated. And so that it helped me to see people that we are all of a family. And so that it's easier for me to cultivate my compassion for people, in treating people. In the past, if seeing people I don't like, I just push them away from me. And now I began to see this is part of me. All the surroundings that the people that I'm in contact with, they are part of me. And by thinking of that helped me to see how would I treat the person if that I'm treating myself. Austin, Texas is a very friendly city for me as a Buddhist, because most of the visitors coming to my temple, they are very curious about my religion, and then also are very willing to learn, to hear from us what is this and what we are doing and how's our cultivation. And so I would say that for me, having a temple, running a temple here, it's more like I want to share with my belief with the people in this area. Not necessarily that all the visitors, I have to convert them into my religion, but it's the idea of sharing that I would like to convey the message of the Buddha's teaching that, in my opinion, if all people they focus on the cultivation of their mind, and doesn't matter which religious background they come from. We really can work together, live together in harmony. One thing that people come to our temple, especially when they enter the main shrine, and then they see the Buddha statues, and when I demonstrate them, that okay, so you come to the temple, first thing you join your palms and you make a half bow to the Buddha. It's a sign of greeting, okay, of saying hi. Okay, and some people, they are not comfortable in doing that, and perhaps that's because in Christian belief that you have the idea of do not worship idols. And so one thing I would like to make use of this opportunity to clarify is that when we Buddhists worshiping the Buddha, it's not worshiping an idol. I would rather say that we are paying respect to our role models. And so Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, all these statues, they are like our role models. And then so when we join our palms and then half bow to the statues, we vow to ourselves that we will be like them, that one day, if I follow their path, then I will become an enlightened person. And so the statue out there actually is the Buddha inside ourselves. And then so we are sort of like elevating ourselves, that if we continue to live as an ordinary person, that we're not knowing that there actually is a potential, a seed of enlightenment inside us, then it's a waste of our life, this life journey here. As a Buddhist, there are two approaches to Buddhism. One through the study of Buddhist philosophy, the doctrinal teaching, and the other is practice, through practice. And so the country where I come from, in Taiwan or in other Asian countries, Buddhists tend to be more practitioner Buddhist. So it is Buddha's teaching is applied in our daily life. And so we say to each other, Amitabha, and then we do volunteer work in the temple, and then also do community services to help others. Okay? But when I was transferred to the States, this is a new land for me. And I found that most of the local people, the English-speaking people, they're coming to the temple mainly asking for understanding the teaching. And then for them, it seems that it's more doctrinal than practical in their daily life. So this is very different. And I would say that being a good Buddhist, it's better to balance both. So if you just practice without knowing the teaching, that is no good. And if you just knowing the teaching without applying that to daily life, that's very dry. I would say that. So if you can balance both, that will make you a really A+ Buddhist. Okay, back to the idea of what Buddhists inspire. What's the Buddha's teaching that inspired me most to join in this community is the teaching of we are all interrelated, that this is a big family. The whole world is a big family. And then so the idea that I'm not different from you and you're not different from me, it really helped me to serve the community. And so just like in Christianity, you said that what you would like to be treated, and then you treat others likewise. And so I would like people to treat me as one of their family. So what do? I treat everyone coming to the temple as my family. I try to invite them to know this place and then to take this place as their home. And I also would like your community come to my temple, and this would be a very good interface experience for both parties. And it's through communication, interaction of different religious background group, then you can see the idea of oneness in human world. My favorite holidays as a kid in Taiwan, of course, the Chinese New Year. Guess why? Because it's on during these Chinese holidays, the parents and the adults, they will get red envelope to the kids. And guess what's inside the red envelope? Money. Okay. And then so during the Chinese New Year, we collect a lot of red envelopes. So it's the most wonderful holidays for kids. And also, why I like the Chinese New Year, it's because it is a time that people gather together. It's a big family reunion days. And so if you have family members who travel all over the places, it's our custom that you have to go back home and to sit together. In our culture, we sit in a round table instead of here in the West that you have rectangular tables, but we have round table so that people gather together at the dining table. We are able to see each other's face and then really enjoy the food. And then the time that we reunite after separating with our family members for some time. And so I would say, yes, Chinese New Year is the best holiday that I can remember. The founder of Buddhism is Shakyamuni Buddha. And before he became a Buddha, he was like you and me and a human being. And he was a prince and living in a palace. So guess that a prince, a royal family. So he was well protected by his servant and by his parents, the king. And it is said that when he walked out of the city gate, and then he got the chance to see the ordinary people's life. And then so he saw people dying, people got hungry, people got sick. He saw dead bodies, cremation of the body. And then so he started to think about all this. As a prince, he's going to take the throne of the kings. So he was thinking about in future, how am I going to help my people? Okay, and then at that time he couldn't find a solution to that, and so therefore he decided to renounce the household life, and then to go to the forest for 6 years of ascetic practice. And this is quite a big change for a prince. Okay, and so what we describe the reason that motivate him to lead ascetic life is what we call Dukkha. Okay, this is in the Sanskrit term, and in English we translate that as suffering. But if I tell you suffering, then you think, I have toothache, and that's suffering. Okay, and my girlfriend say goodbye to me, and then I suffer. We just think about this kind of suffering, but actually, Prince Siddhartha, the Buddha's name, okay, what he describes suffering is the changing of life, okay, that you cannot stay young forever, that you cannot be happy forever. In this moment, you are very healthy, very happy, but next moment, it can be something happened, and that is out of your expectation, and then you cannot take it. And so people suffer from this kind of impermanence in life. And so he wanted to find a solution to that. And so when he got enlightened, what did he see? I mean, see, not naked eyes to see, but the mind's eyes to see. What he really saw in the world is the dependent origination of all beings, the interrelatedness of all life. And then he also see the impermanence in life. And we as an ordinary people, we see the wood, we see the classroom, this tea room. We think that it will stay forever and ever and ever. But really, as time goes by, it is subject to change. But an ordinary person cannot see that. But he is able to see that. And he shows that to us. Okay, so when he showed all this to us, everything is changing. And then we just say, yeah, everything is changed. But we are not seeing that impermanence in depth. And he is showing us that if you lengthen your life, your timeline, then you will be seeing that even this lifespan is not permanent. Life goes on and on. And that I would say it's very fascinating to me that life is not only this life. Okay, you have ongoing life. And that means everything is possible, change is possible. Okay, and so I would say that his enlightenment, his solution to what is called suffering is that if you are able to see everything is changing, okay, then you can conquer the fear of suffering, the pains of suffering. And so therefore, people are afraid of death. And then I also found that in the West, that people seldom talk about death. But even in the Oriental culture, sometimes it's a taboo topic for many people. And then sometimes if you have old people, aged people in your family, you're not allowed to talk about death. But in Buddhism, we talked a lot about that. And then I found that even though my congregation, maybe in their communities, in their family, maybe they are not allowed to talk about death, but when they come to my temple, when my lecture focusing on the topic of death, I can see they open their eyes and they pay attention to what would happen about death. Okay, and so I think people are interested in this topic, but they are afraid to talk about it in public. And I hope that in future I can help people more about this. And I think that's also very important for me to help people in learning how to face death. The temple here, we have opening hours, and then many times when the first time visitors, they come to me, and then they sort of feel that maybe are they intruding to a private house, and then I say that, oh, it's open to the public. And so maybe I have a question. Maybe in a church, normally visitors, strangers, they don't have the habit, the custom of visiting a church without any reason. So I would like to say to your congregation that they are welcome to my temple, even though you are of different religious background. That would be fine. And even though that inside my main shrine you feel uncomfortable in kneeling down and bow to my Buddha, it's okay, because once you are not afraid of coming to a different religious site, then it's a challenge to your own faith. but it's also a good opportunity to strengthen your faith, because by seeing the differences, then you would have more confidence about your own faith, your own belief. By seeing how other religious group devoted to their temple, to our temple, then when you go back to your church, then you can do likewise. This is the way to serve others. This is the way to spend your volunteer hours to help your church. Okay, so I think it's a how do you call that? The mutual learning experience. And I would say that my congregation is also glad and happy to receive people from other religious background as our visitors and our guests.